Welcome back to another Gale Bears Repairs. Today we're going to replace the front brake pads on this 2018 Seat Arona. Right, let's get on with it. Right, the first job, let's get the brake fluid reservoir cap off. Just leave that off because we need to allow the fluid to get pushed back up into this reservoir when we push the piston back on the caliper. Right, so our first job is to get that T30 off there. So we get a screwdriver, we've got the vented discs here. So we can put the screwdriver in through the vented disc. And then we just crack off the little grub screw here. Yeah, oh, someone's done that correctly the last time. So we spin him off. We know it comes undone now, so we'll leave it in place so the discs don't fall off on the floor. Right, we've got to remove the caliper next. So we've got the grub screw loose on the disc, so we know that we can remove the disc easily enough. We're now going to push the piston back in there. That's the caliper piston there, and he's out. So if you can see in there, that's the pad, the inner pad. That's the inner part of the disc there. So that's the inner face of the disc. That's the vented section. That's the outer section of the disc. So we want to get in between the outer section of our disc and the caliper here. And we want to push our screwdriver that way, which is going to push this piston in. So as we slide this across, we're going to slide the caliper across, which will push the piston back in. So we'll do that, go there. Don't know if you can focus your eyes here, and you should see that piston reducing in length. There he goes, he's going across. I'll get a bigger screwdriver. And you can see the witness marks here, look, from the rust where it's sliding across. So this is reducing in length now. The piston is being retracted into the caliper. So I'll just get in there. There he goes, look. You can see it moving there, and you can see the piston reducing in. There he goes, so he's fully back. Yeah, so now our piston is fully retracted. We've got movement on our caliper now, look. So that's freed up our pads. So we've got the piston retracted now, and the pads are free from the disc, so we can get them over the lip. Next job we've got, there's two rubber caps here, the bungs. We've got to get them off to access some slider pins, and they're on an Allen key, I think. Right, we'll prise off the end caps here. And that exposes the slider pins. So this is a 7mm Allen key. So we just undo those, crack them off. And out they come, look. So that's what you can expect to see. It's a slider pin with just an Allen key head there. Let's get them in focus. Right, so that's both of them. Now we should be able to grab the caliper and remove it. So that's all that holds the caliper in place. I'll take it around the other side and show you a little tang that sticks out to retain it. So we're around the other side now, and there's this little tang that sticks down here off of the caliper. So that's the pad itself, that little tang there. But this is the caliper. So we've pushed the piston fully in, which allows this caliper now to come out here, and it'll allow it past there. So only when it's past that will you be able to get it out. So you have to force it across, and then it'll allow that pass, look. But if the piston is out and that's in there, you won't get it out past. That's the design. It's like a fail-safe system. So then all we do, pull it out, and then we place the caliper up there safely. Our next job is to clean up all this area here of the hub where the brake pads actually slide on. It's up in behind here as well. You've got to get it all clean with a wire brush. There and here as well. Look at all the brake dust and the corrosion building up. So personally, on this vehicle, it's only one grub screw. I'm going to take the disc off because it's easy to get the disc off now, and then I can wire brush in behind there nicely. Get it. You can see now without the disc there, we can get to all areas of here, around the back of it, in behind there. It's all going to have a nice wire brush off, and it'll allow our pads to slide nicely.
So an important bit for this next part of the job, get yourself a dust mask on, because we're going to be cleaning up the wire brushing up all the disc area, and it's got brake dust on it, and we don't want that in our lungs. Right, we get wire brushing. Make sure you got your dust mask off. It's essential. You watch the dust coming off of here. Look at that. Look. You don't want that going in your lungs. There was some thick corrosion there. I've got rid of that. Give that a spray down with some brake cleaner. Right, the next job, get the pads out of the caliper and wire brush up the caliper.
Right, so we've got to remove our pads from the caliper. Our piston is fully backlit, it's fully retracted back into here, so that's good. The outer pad, it's got some springs there, look. So you just press, you just got to push him off here. So we just give him a force out, and he should come out. Oh, he's jammed right away. So we just we'll prise him out. There he goes. So just prise him out of there, and it's that spring clip, look, that just retains in that scalloped section there. And then the same in the piston. So this one goes into the center of the piston. There he is, and they are different sizes. I think this was the larger one and it's a smaller one. Yeah, so the inner and the outer, look. So it's physically larger, the one that goes to the piston, the inner one, and the outer one is the smaller spring clips. So there are inners and outers. If you see these here, they're quite worn, but not fully worn out. I'm changing them because of the discs. The discs got a lip on them, and we got an MOT due soon. So we'll stick some new discs and pads on it. Right, now we've got to wire brush and clean up all this area. This area here, these ears, is where it contacts the pad. So special attention to there. Clean up the back of the piston and give it all a wire brush. We'll give that a spray with some brake cleaner. So I'll just show you the way that the pads work. So you've got this inner one with the large spring on it, and effectively all they're doing is they're riding on here. They're just moving on there. You can see the witness marks there where that one's been rubbing. So it's only a small movement that they actually operate on. So that's why it's important to clean this up. So clean this area up thoroughly. Test fit your pads here, look. Make sure that they are free to move and they're not restricted, so we won't have a dragging brake. Right, so we just clip them into the caliper now. and we're good to go. We can reassemble. Right, I like to put a bit of copper grease around here, just around the piston, to stop any squealing and rattling. And just on the back of the ears of the caliper here, where it contacts the pad. So we just put a smear on there, not much. Just put that there, and then we'll clip the pads back in. So these are our new pads. The large spring clip is going into the piston, so he just snaps in. So you just press him in there and he should snap in place. He may be a bit hard to do. There he goes, look. So he's in and he's free to move around a bit. And then we've got to do the same here with the other new pad. And I think this one just slides down for that spring clip. So you just sit him there, look, and press him down in. Yeah, there he goes. That's it. Oh, there, just felt him clip in nice then. So that's your two pads preloaded in the caliper, ready to go on. We'll put the brake disc on, or you may have your old brake disc on, but they're ready to rock and roll. Here are the pads I've fitted to this 2018 Seat Arona with a 1 litre TSI engine fitted. So they're APEC, they're a medium brand, they're like not cheap, but they're not expensive. There's the part number if you're interested. So we can plonk him on again. Got the grub screw there, the threads. We just want to catch that one. And there he is. Just a very small dollop of grease on the end of him. Right, and that screw is literally to retain it now for safety. That's all it's for. It does not retain the disc in place. When you put the wheel on, the bolts go through and it all squeezes together, and that's what holds it on. So this is purely for now, for the safety. So it's a lightest little nip. Just nip him up and then we're good to go. Give him another little wipe around. And now we'll get the caliper back in place. Right, we've got to clean up these slider pins now. So there it is. Look, that's that 7mm Allen key that goes in there. And these are the pins that slide the caliper slide on. So the caliper itself slides on these pins. So we've got to give this a wire brush off. Look, they're a bit corroded here. So, oh no, it's just dirt. It's just brake dust on them. Give them a spray down with some brake cleaner. Now here's my controversial bit. I'm going to smack a bit of gold grease on them. So we'll definitely grease up the threads for the next person, which will be me, to make them come out easier. And here's the controversial bit. Leave your comments in the comments section if you think this is the right thing to do or not. So I'm just smacking a small amount of copper grease on these pins. There'll be different opinions on this. Right, so our disc is on. It's fitted in place. We've got our new disc fitted. If you're not fitting a new disc, you're just replacing the pads. We just replace it now. There is another video for doing the disc, and there's another video for doing the pads, just depending on what video you're watching. So we've got the caliper loaded with the pads now. You've got to make sure that your brake hose is not kinked and it lays naturally. And then we lower this down, put the pads over the disc each side, but we've got to feed the caliper in at the bottom first and then pivot it up to catch on that tang at the bottom. I'll show you that now. So you've got to feed it in at the bottom first and then tuck it over and then it goes in. So it comes over, you've got to feed it in like that, and that one's got to come out over here. So you feed it in like that, give him a whack in. And there we go. So that latches in, and then they go in like that. But that piece has to come in behind this part of the hub. I just thought I'd take you in closer. So look, the shoe goes there, the pad, sorry, and that tang has to be that side, look. Next job, we've got to feed that pin in through there, and it goes into the hub there. So we'll find the threads. There he is. In that one goes. And then in with the bottom one. Just a little bit of wiggling, look. Took a bit of wiggling to align him, but in he goes. Okay, with these, you don't want to cream these up because there's only a little shoulder for the thread. So you literally give them a firm, there he goes, just a firm nip. We don't want these really tight, but we don't want them loose. So you get a feel. So just a nip. And then this is very important, get those caps in, keeps the dirt out, and it enables you to get these off easily after. It keeps the water out and the dirt out. So it's good for the future. Right, that's it. Check it moved, which it does, look, it's sliding on those slider pins there. So an important part now is to go upstairs and pump the brake pedal. So there we have it. Our new pads are in, they're there. It's all nice and clean. There's the new pads, and we've got a new disc in there. There's our new disc. If you're watching this doing the brake pads, you can watch another video of mine for the discs as well. Right, so we've pumped up there. All looks good. While you're here, have a good visual inspection of everything else. Make sure your rubber boots are good, things like that. Last job before we finish. Stick the brake fluid reservoir cap back on.
So that's the brake pads. That's the... Oh no. That's the brake pad. So that's how to replace the brake pads on this 2018 Seat Arona. Very basic task, easily achievable by your average home mechanic with very basic tools. The only thing I think you would need to remember is a bit tricky. You've got to feed that caliper in on that tang. There's that little tang that hangs down. You've got to feed the caliper in and then tilt it back. But that's the only thing that I thought was a little bit tricky, really. Basic task, easily achievable. I'll put a link up here now. It should appear here now for the brake disc replacement on this same vehicle. So click this link to watch a brake disc video. And if you found this video has been useful and it's been informative, could you please like, subscribe and share, and I'll see you next time.